Hi children, it's a lovely day today and a good time to start some studies. Don't you think so? I do. And let's begin now with a very small summary of the chapter that we studied the previous day. Do you remember the chapter, dear children? The name of the chapter was Lesson 2, Alice in Wonderland. That was Lesson 2, Alice in Wonderland. And let me tell you, the previous day I had already explained that Alice was a small little girl. She fell through a huge black hole. And why did she actually fall into that huge black hole? Was because she was following a rabbit. And if you remember, and if you read your story twice, you will remember that the rabbit was a different rabbit. It was not like ordinary rabbits. Why? Because the rabbit was talking to itself. And also, if you remember, the rabbit had a pocket watch. And what is a pocket watch? I've told this to you earlier. Do you recall that? A pocket watch is a watch which has a chain, and that you can keep in your pocket. And so when Alice followed this rabbit, what actually happened? Alice fell through a huge hole, following the rabbit into the hole. And then remember, she saw doors on both sides of a dark hall. And there was a three-legged table on which she found a small golden key. She picked up that golden key and found that behind a curtain there was a small door. And when she opened that small little door with that small little key, across that she could see the loveliest garden you ever saw in your life. And you know, children, if you remember and if you read your story, you will surely recall after that what happened. Alice went back to the table and there she saw a bottle with "Drink Me" written on it. And obviously, actually, she drank that liquid. And then what happened, children? She became so small. She became so small that she could reach that hole. And she was so glad to reach that place and get inside that garden. But the problem is, she forgot to get the key. And so, she began to cry. And after she cried that much, remember children, she found a box under the table with "Eat Me" written on it. And if you remember, she ate that cake and she wouldn't grow anymore. So all of you have read the chapter. I expect all of you have read that chapter. And if you have, now we move on to the notes. Before I start with the notes, once again I would like to show you the index page which I explained to you earlier. Now this index page is telling you that you need to fill up the serial number, the name of the chapter, the date as well, also the page numbers that you are using. Is that clear to everybody now? I think it's clear to everyone. And so, I'm not showing you this anymore. Now you know, every time we do a chapter, we first fill up the index page and then we move to writing the notes. And if you recall, children, yesterday, if you remember what I told you earlier, I've told this to you earlier, you must write bit by bit and neatly. Neat, cursive handwriting. Will you follow those instructions, children? Yes, you will. I know. And so, we move on. Now here, children, you have the notes. I'll enlarge that. You have the notes of lesson 2. Okay? Lesson 2 that you will write on the first line, and on the next line you will write Alice in Wonderland. I'm speaking really slow so that you can understand and you can do your work. and I expect that when the school will reopen, I am going to see all these notes in your notebook written perfectly and beautifully. Will you do that for me? I am sure you will. Alright, so now the meanings, just for you I am reading it once. The meanings, the first one, delight, the meaning joy. Wander, yes, the previous day we have already discussed this. Wander, the meaning is walk. Fancy, the meaning is imagine or think in your mind. Sharply, the meaning is sternly. I hope all of you can see that, children. If you want, I'll make the page a bit bigger. Is it fine now? I think it's good. So, the next one is creep, and the meaning is move quietly. Now we come to the opposites. If you remember, I've told this to you earlier. In the middle of both the opposites, we put a cross. So we can understand it is opposite. Now, large, the opposite is small. Dark, the opposite is bright. And now we move to the past tense. Past tense, the first one is shrink. And the past tense is shrank. And the second one, children, find, and the past tense is found. And now you've got one word. Instrument to see things that are far away. The previous day I told you Alice wanted to become shut up into a telescope, become small into a telescope. So the answer is telescope. The second one, small, dark, dried, seedless grapes. If you recall, we spoke about these small, dried, seedless grapes in the previous class, where I was telling you that people have cake, and on the cake they do some decorations with dry fruits. So here you see the answer, currants. But you know, currant has two different spellings. The pronunciation may be the same, but current has two different spellings. Now just think, in place of that A, if I just went and wrote there one E and made it current, then you know we speak about there's no current in the house, or we speak about the current of water, water current. That spelling is completely different. So when you're studying English, you must concentrate also on the spelling. So one small E will spoil the spelling. In this case, we need to write A. So currants. Everyone's looking at that? All are paying attention? Okay. So now we move to make sentences. The first one is nervous. What do you think, children, will be the meaning of nervous? Nervous means I'm frightened, I'm scared, I'm worried about something. And so you see, I wrote a beautiful sentence for you there. I was nervous on my first day at school. When you're a small child, you must have been nervous, frightened, you don't want to leave your mother's hand. That is the meaning of nervous. So, please write down that sentence along with the word before. Okay. Now we move to the second one, tired. We feel tired after playtime. In school, you run and you play and you fall down and you push your friends around. And then when you come back to the class, everyone is saying, ma'am, it's so hot, ma'am, it's so hot. And I'm so tired. I don't want to study anymore. So during playtime, you get tired, isn't it? So we feel tired after playtime. And now, children, we are moving on to answer the following. Please have a look here. Answer the following. I hope you can see that page, otherwise I'll make it a little larger for you. This is convenient, I think. Okay. So answer the following, children. The first sentence. Why was Alice sad in the beginning of the story. Why was she sad, children? You remember? Why was she sad? Yes, the answer. Alice was sad because she was not able to get out of the hall. So she was sad. Now the next one. What did Alice find on the three-legged table? You remember that? She found a small key, and that's why we are writing here. She found, there's no need, children, to write Alice, 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 Alice again. So in place of Alice, we will write she. And remember, in the first chapter, it was not Alice, it was Mowgli. If it was Mowgli, I would not write she. Obviously, I would not write she. What would I write? I would write he. So, in between this note also, I want to tell you a small piece of grammar here. When we use a word in place of the name of a person, when we use a word in place of the name of a person, if it is a boy, we will say he, and if it is a girl, we will say she. And what if it was your English Rose book? Then I can't say he, she. I have to call it it. I have to call this it. I have a book in my hand. It has many colors. Am I making myself clear, children? In place of book, 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 I can use the word it. And you know, children, that will be called pronoun. This one is a noun and that one will be called pronoun. So if I say book, it will be noun. Book is noun, the name of a something or some person or some animal or some place. That is the noun. And if I am using a word for the noun, another word for the noun, that will be called pronoun. So just now in the middle of this chapter, you learned something new again. Let me repeat that for you once more. A word which is used in the place of a noun is called a pronoun. You see, it's matching with noun, so we cannot forget this word. Will you forget, children? No, no? Then we move on. So you see, we completed question number 2. Now we move to question number 3. What problem did Alice face after she shrank? After she shrank, Alice found that she had forgotten to take the golden key from the table. And now she was too small to reach it. That's what was her problem. The next one, children. What happened after Alice ate a piece of the cake? Why was she surprised? So remember, just now we discussed when she ate the piece of the cake, nothing happened. That's what happened. Nothing happened. So she was surprised. Alice ate a piece of the cake, but she remained the same size. She was surprised because she was expecting to grow larger or smaller. Now, if she would grow larger, she would anyway get the key. And if she grew smaller, that would be still good. She would go under the door and get inside the beautiful garden. In any case, nothing of the kind happened. And ultimately, do you remember what I told you the previous day when we had our previous lesson? Ultimately, what happened? We come to know that Alice was just dreaming. So I hope the chapter as well as the notes are clear to everyone. Now, I'd like to show you another part of your textbook. So this is the page Reading Comprehension. Can you see that page number, children? It is page number 23. And if you see here, can you see that? Reading Comprehension. The first one given to you, choose the correct option to write each sentence, to complete each sentence. So the first one, the golden key opened the large door, small door, which door? What is the answer, children? The answer is the small door behind the curtain. And then you have the second one, when Alice opened the door, she. So what do you think will be this answer? I'll show you the answers so that while I'm talking to you, you can even write in your book. Here we are. Can you see that, children? I'll enlarge it a little more. So now you see the first one, the golden key opened the small door behind the curtain. The second one, when Alice opened the door, she could not even get her head through. So which option shall we tick? We'll tick option A and also write down the answer on that dash. And now we come to the third one, dear children. After drinking the liquid in the bottle, Alice dash in size. You all know that answer. She shrank in size. And so I'm ticking on number C and writing the answer on the dash. Then number 4, Alice found the glass box under the table. The options are under the table, on top of the table, near the door. But you know the answer is under the table. What was inside that glass box, children? There was cake. So now, seeing the cake, she decided to leave it untouched, throw it away or eat it. Remember, she ate it. So with that, we come to the end of this exercise as well. Now, we have a very small piece of vocabulary. If you can see, I am showing you my book here also. There's a nice big yellow box here and there's something written here for you. So in brief, I am going to tell you what is written there. So first, let me change that page. Here we are. Can you see that part, children? The vocabulary section. I hope all of you can see it. The page number is number 24. Now, before I show you this page, let me tell you something about the page, okay? So, minimize that and now I'll tell you something about what's given on that page. We have two words in English called suffix and prefix. So, let's talk about prefix first. When you have that word prefix, okay, let me write it for you. When you have this word prefix, I can divide it into two parts. Pre plus fix. Did you see that? Pre plus fix. So it means before some word, I am going to add something. So when you were studying in class 3, if you remember, we had a word which came many times in our chapter. It was called possible. Everyone knows that word, right? It was called possible. So let me write it here. Possible. If I write something in front of that word, Look here, dear children, if I write this, this possible has now become impossible. So this small little two-syllabled non-meaning, it has no meaning, this word is changing the meaning of possible and making it impossible. Now see, I'll show you another one. If I write here able, everyone knows the meaning of able? I am able to sing, I am able to teach, you are able to learn, but I am not able to fly. I am not able to fly. So this is the word able. It means I can. But now children, in front of this able, if I write a word like this, dis. Now did you see what happened? Able has changed into disable. Similarly, in the same way, we have many such words. So remember children, prefix. So in front of a word, if I am writing something and the meaning of the word can sometimes change and the word becomes something else. And now we have something called suffix. So let me write that down. Now you see children, suff actually has no meaning, okay? Suff has no meaning, but if I am writing suffix together, it has a meaning. The word suffix means at the end of the word, I am going to write something. Now all of you have heard the word care. Have you heard the word of care? Have you heard the word care? Yes, you all have. Now look here. I have written care here. When I put a plus sign and I add something there, look at that. Now I have gone and put full. And you know something? That word has changed in meaning. It has become careful. Now similarly, in the same way, if I am going to add care plus less. Now look there what you have. You've got careless, careful, careless. So in the same way, we have many more words. I'll show you another one. This is polite. And if I add ly, it's called politely. So speak politely. In this period of lockdown, I'm sure your parents may be getting angry with you. You may be disturbing your parents also, and they speak impolitely to you sometimes. They scold you. You reply back impolitely. Now see what happened. Impolitely. That impolitely, where should it come children? Up or down? Should it come in prefix or should it come in suffix? You tell me. You know the answer? It will come in prefix because I wrote im and then I wrote politely. Is that clear to everyone children? I am sure all of you have understood this very well. Now the next bit of the lesson we will be doing again later. Till then, remember children, stay safe and stay at home. And whenever you need to go anywhere, what you need to do? Wear your mask and don't touch your eyes, nose or your ears. Don't touch any part of your face. That will keep you safe from COVID. Have a nice day.